Time now for track and field update. Here's the head coach Brant Tolsma. Now, Coach, we'll talk about the race last weekend in a minute, but you also ran a couple weeks ago in Earlysville for the Virginia Invitational. How'd that go?
We actually, on the men's side, we planned a different thing in these two races. We were going to run kind of our A team in that race and our B team at the pre-conference, which was just last weekend. That was the original plan, but then we ended up running 6 in the first race, and then we decided to run 6 in the second race as well, have a little cushion there. But up in Virginia, we got a taste of really high-level competition. We were competitive. Both our men and women tied High Point in that particular race, and High Point was picked to win the conference, so we were happy about that. Our men's ranking jumped from 15th to 10th basically that week in the region, and so we were pretty pleased with that performance, especially considering we didn't have much backup to speak of by holding some of the men out.
Now, all the talk this past weekend was the conditions that your racers had to go in the upstate of South Carolina. How adverse was it, and how adverse of conditions have you ever had to coach in before, besides what we saw Saturday?
One year they had, when Heather Sagan ran at the Nationals in cross country, they had a wind chill at -15 and snow on the ground, and that was miserable. But this was more like a game. The kids actually had fun. Right. It wasn't that cold. It was in the 50s. But the rain was coming down and the course was just flooded. It was fun to watch when the whole crowd started and they were going down the hill. The first 100 meters is downhill and the water was just splashing out. So it was fun, but it was kind of interesting to see how good the times were, even in those conditions. It's hard to say how much that slows you down. They were all they looked like they were running on water. You know, wow. The Lord walked on water, but they were running on water. But the times are still pretty good, so I think it's going to be a fast course when we get there in conference if it dries up. Reading
some of the updates, some of the teams didn't show up. Was there ever talk of canceling the race?
We actually called 5 minutes before we left to make sure they're going to have it, because it was close to a 5-hour drive, and to drive down there and not race would have been a waste. But they said they would have it. About half the teams did pull out, but those that were there, I think they had fun.
You had some young individual runners that placed pretty well in this. Sophomore Cameron Francis on your men's side. How did he look out there?
Cameron has been looking good, and we ran him as one of our top 5 guys. But he had been sick that week, and then he got a stitch while he's in the side when he was running, so he had a very poor race. That's why we decided to run him again. But he's looking like a top 5 runner for us. The other 4 of our top 5 we held out, and in spite of that, we beat a number of Division I schools with our backup guys. So I feel like the men are looking really good right now. Our women were hurt a lot. We've got a lot of girls that are out, even several that are out for the season. And, we got to come up a little bit to fill in there. We held Edna out of that race, but everybody else who was healthy ran, and we're still a girl or 2 shy of where we need to be to contend for the conference title. So I'm not sure what will happen between now and conference, but I'm hoping we get a couple people to step up a little bit.
Freshman Tori Skull stepped up. She finished 3rd. How'd her race look?
Well, she's a good runner. I think she's basically our number 2 runner right now, and she got beat by 2 High Point girls, which we'd like her to only get beat by 1 by the time we get to conference, but we'll see how that goes. Coastal and High Point are the 2 that are really going to most likely challenge, and it's shaping up to be a good race. There's nobody that can walk in there to conference and think, oh, we got this. It's going to be a good race.
So now the race in South Carolina is over. A little bit windy here today. It's fall weather here in Lynchburg. What's next for your teams as you prepare down the road?
Well, we are running pre-nationals, and we plan to run our best there. So that's in 2 weeks. We'll get to go against other high-level teams, and we'll see really how good we are, if our ranking is right, and what our chances are.
All right, Brant, we appreciate the time. Have a great end of the season here.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out. You see, I'm wearing my shirt.
Sam Chalanga.
Yeah, Sam won the national championship just yesterday in the 10,000 meters. Yeah. So he's officially a U.S. citizen now, and he beat the guy who finished 1 second behind him, was the national champion in the marathon next year. So he's looking like a serious contender to make the Olympic team this year, and we're excited about that.
You mentioned Sam as we wrap things up. A lot of pictures of him and some other racers as you enter your building. What's it like to see those memories, and what kind of floods back when you see those pictures?
Well, I've been here a long time, and when I first came here, our theme for the first year was building tradition, because there wasn't much tradition at Liberty. The school was only 15 years old, and the track had only been going about 10 years at most. So we were building tradition. But now when we see those kind of things, we have tradition now. Now we just have to build on it. But people come here having heard of Liberty before, and that's a nice place to be.
Yeah, it definitely is a standard here with Liberty track and field and cross country. Brant, thank you for the time. We'll catch you with you soon.
Enjoy it. Thank you.
That's head cross country coach Brant Tolsma. I'm Alan York for LibertyFlames.com. Now joined by freshman runner Tori Skull. And Tori, we talked with Coach about how adverse the conditions were this past weekend in South Carolina. Have you ever raced in conditions that horrific before?
I've raced in the rain before, but there was definitely a ton of water on the course, so it's like running through a pond.
Yeah. So going into it, I'm sure you knew what you were going to be up against. How do you prepare yourself mentally to race in conditions like that?
Well, actually, I really liked it. I love running when it's really cold and rainy, so it was perfect conditions for me.
Now, you're from Illinois.
Yeah.
How did you get to Liberty? What's the story on how you decided to run here?
Well, there's a guy from my church that played hockey here, so we knew about it from him, and then I actually read Coach Tolsma's book.
Okay.
And then so I emailed Coach Tolsma and thought that I would check it out.
So you visited before you committed to coming here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I came on an official visit.
What'd you think about the visit when you came here?
It was so much fun. I loved it.
What about running interests you so much, Tori?
Well, I've been running since 6th grade. My mom was a runner, and she was All-American, and growing up, I always looked up to her and wanted to be like her, so.
So as a freshman now running in college, what are some things you've learned about yourself and what kind of runner you are and what it takes to compete at this level?
Well, I know that it takes a lot of hard work, and I want to do it, and I love it, so I want to be All-American like my mom.
Now, we talked to you being from Illinois. You ever had to run in snow before? Or they call it off if it's that bad?
I think that I've ran in snow before.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything, I think, so.
Good. So what kind of goals do you have now? Obviously the cross-country season is kind of in the middle of what's going on now. So what goals do you have for this season?
I just honestly want to run it the best I can. It's my freshman year, so I just want to have some good times.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Tori. Have a great rest of your season. I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
That's freshman Tori Skull. I'm Alan York for the Liberty Flames Sports Network.